Hi everyone, it's Sloan Rhodes here. First and foremost, I want to let you know that I am no longer calling this the weekly spiritual guidance video because it is so much more than that. Every week, for those of you who have been following me for a while and are connecting more and more deeply to your sense of who you are, whose you are, why you're here, what you want to do while you're here, connecting to your purpose. For those of you who watch me every week, first of all, I want to say thank you, of course, and also to thank yourselves, because these videos that I do every week are really about self-mastery, about understanding when the ego comes in and when you can drop into the heart. And this is self-mastery. So I'm no longer calling this the weekly spiritual guidance videos. I'm calling it spiritual self-mastery. And, you know, from my perspective, it's so difficult to deepen your connection to your spirituality, to create a more joyful, abundant life without understanding the ego, without understanding how the ego, the inner child, the mind, can derail us, you know. And it's so important for me as part of my own work to help you to feel more confident in why you're here and what you want to do, you know. And I have a driving passion for this, and so I want to say thank you again for coming every week to explore this with me, because I know the tarot readings are really fun. I love doing them for everybody, especially the life purpose and career ones. And I actually have a new life purpose subscription service I'm doing. There's a link below, so that every month I will do the life purpose videos for what you're meant to do, not do, and what you can look forward to regardless for each sign. Kind of like what I do with the love readings, but it's for life purpose and career. Life purpose and career, I'm absolutely passionate about that. So that one is part of a separate subscription service. It's a free trial period for the first month. But aside from that, these weekly guidance videos really are about self-mastery, and that's what I'm going to call them. And so I want to commend you for having the courage to address these issues, because it's not easy to make the shift. Many people say they want to shift their lives without going into the deeper elements of understanding ego death, the death of the ego, the spiritual ascension, the awakening that has to occur together. You can't ascend without having an understanding that your ego has to disintegrate. It just does. So this is what I wanted to say. So let's just go ahead and get started for the week of June 10th, 2018. I just sat down, so let me pick some cards. I think for this week I'm going to choose one card. Okay, it's right on top. I'll choose it from the Magical Unicorns as the overarching theme for the week, and then we'll go into the what the ego may try to distract us with the heart asset we explore further, and what we can look forward to regardless. And I also am working on a course for those of you who are interested in continuing this work on a deeper level. It's going to be a pretty intense course, intensive and intense course, and I'm working on a book as well to go along with that. So that is in the works for those of you who like this kind of work, who are really interested in understanding how the ego is in your life and how you can turn towards it, shoulders squared, with courage and understanding that it is not who you are. It is an element of self that is here to help us connect more deeply to the heart. So we needn't be afraid of it, but we do have to work with it. All right, so the overarching theme for the week of June 10th, 2018, from the Magical Unicorns deck by Doreen Virtue. Okay. Listen to your true feelings. Don't let others talk you into doing something that you know is wrong. Oh, that group think. All right. And then we have under the deck, light. See the light within yourself and everyone else. Now, I do have a podcast episode up, an audio podcast on SoundCloud and iTunes, where I address the light and dark within, and how, you know, here we have see the light within yourself as well as everyone else. Well, I will remind you that the light you see in others, you see it in others because it exists within you. You hold that light within you as well. But the converse is true. The dark that you see in others, you also hold versions of that darkness, what we would call that darkness within. And so I have this podcast episode on this so that you can help to identify it more quickly and and create change around this. So I'll include a link here as well. So let's just go ahead and get some more cards. So listen to your true feelings. Don't let others talk you into doing something that you know is wrong. You know, so many times we feel as though we are being overpowered by another, that their logic or their evidence that they can present to you is more important than our feelings, than our intuitive understanding of what may occur or how we're feeling in the moment. You know, it's not even about, I don't want to do this because I know something bad is going to happen. It's that it doesn't feel right. So it means it's not resonating with you, yourself, your understanding of yourself in the moment. So it's not about right or wrong. It's about being true to yourself, right? Listen to your true feelings. So one of the ways that you can align more quickly with this is to remember that you don't have to convince anyone else. You don't have to fight against someone else or protect yourself from someone. It's about aligning with what you know to be true for you in that moment. And in that moment saying, I'm not comfortable doing that, or I am comfortable doing that. I'm not in agreement with that, or I am in agreement with that. You don't have to put up a fight. You can just say it with confidence because you are aligned with your sense of who you are in the world. You're aligned with your true self. And when you are aligned with your true self, you're an open channel for the divine, let's say. And there's nothing more powerful than the all that is. You know, so with that comes this great sense of confidence. It's not about being stubborn or that's not my values, therefore I'm not going to do it. It's about, does it feel right to me? Does it feel open? Does it feel honest to who I am in the moment? Again, it's not about clinging to old ideals or old paradigms or old conditioning. It's about, does it feel right to me in the moment? You know, you're always growing and learning, so what was right for you 10 years ago may not be right for you now. It's always okay to continue to expand your sense of self. Listen to your true feelings in the moment. Again, without the need to fight against anybody. You don't have to prove that you're right and they're wrong. Just say, I'm just not comfortable with that right now. You guys go ahead. You know, whatever. And it may feel scary to the ego to align with yourself, with your true self, with your heart-centered energies. So the fear may come in, like, oh, but what if they don't like me anymore? Well, don't worry about that, because when you are in alignment, everything comes in to support you. And if those people don't like you anymore in that moment, that's on them. You know, your job is to like you in that moment. All right, let's get some additional cards. All right, so what the ego may try to distract us with, what we can look forward, what our heart asks that we explore further, and what we can look forward to regardless. Okay, here we go. So the ego may try to distract us with the Page of Swords in reverse. The heart asks that we explore further the Two of Wands. Talk about alignment. What we can look forward to regardless is the Six of Wands. Well, I love to see that Six of Wands here in terms of what we can look forward to regardless, because it looks like there is kind of a backpedaling. You might have to, especially with the ego trying to distract us with the Page of Swords in reverse, you know, this idea that really with the Page of Swords in reverse, we don't have the right understanding. You know, we thought we knew something that isn't true. We have a misperception that our ego is fanning the flames of in order to create more conflict, right? But what we can look forward to regardless is the Six of Wands in reverse. So a backpedaling, a readdressing something that has occurred, or a thought process, or something that you thought you you wanted or that you were successful at, and now you're kind of having to go, wait a minute, you know what, I don't think I really had all the information when I agreed to that, or it goes back to listen to your true feelings, you know. Don't accept something as a victory or something that you've accomplished if in truth it's not, it's based on bad information, you know. I'll give you some more examples in a second. All right, so the ego may try to distract us with the Page of Swords. Again, here we have misunderstandings, misperception. You're not perceiving the situation clearly. You have decided that you know the answer when you really don't. You don't have all the information to make the answer. Remember, everything is much more faceted than we can ever begin to understand. So the ego will fan the flames of this, right? No, they did that to you. You know, you understand the situation perfectly. I remember one time I got into a discussion with someone, and I was just talking, you know, with what was true for me in the moment. And the other person got really agitated, and he said, you know, I know exactly what's going on here. And I remember being so startled. And I was like, I don't think you do. Like, whatever in his mind was the thing that was going on, it was like an exchange with a service-oriented professional. And I was like, but they knew, you know, he knew in his mind exactly what was going on. And we were just like this, like completely misunderstanding each other, because I don't know what he thought was going on, but it wasn't at all what I was trying to, you know. So it was a really funny exchange, and this kind of makes me think of this. Like, his ego was really stirred up, and he knew exactly what I meant by whatever it was I said. And I was like, I don't think you do, because it's not, whatever you think is going on is not. Anyway, so this kind of reminds me of that. So check your judgments, check your perceptions before you lash out at another, before you take action, you know, that could create more conflicts in your life, and you don't, you know, who needs that, right? And then what our heart asks that we explore further is the Two of Wands, you know, agreements that are in alignment with your own agreements, you know what I mean? Other people, and aligning with self, you know, your true self. This is why I kind of said this is the card, like a card of alignment. Like, you know, when the Two of Wands is in the heart-centered energy, you are absolutely in union, in a communion with another person here. You have agreed, you have an agreement, you have an understanding to move forward. Now, it may not be with another individual, but again, it's aligning with self, you know. And then taking, you know, planning to take action. You have come to an agreement, a communion of spirit here. So and the heart asks, where can you explore that? But make sure you're perceiving the situation clearly, because you may miss out on an actual opportunity here to align with another spirit, another soul, another experience within self that can move you forward in a beautiful way. But you have to be open to it, and this can be very distracting. And the Six of Wands, again, it may be that you have to kind of backpedal a bit and say, oh, you know what, I'm sorry. I thought you meant that. And so before you cross the finish line, so to speak, you know, make sure that you have the correct information. Don't rush ahead here. Take your time to make sure you're perceiving things accurately. And if you need to apologize to someone, there's no harm in apologizing. I know, you know, many people who apologize easily and effortlessly because they don't feel like it's taken away from themselves. I know just as much, you know, people who have a really hard time apologizing because their sense of self is more fragile, and they feel as though it will create a situation where they're vulnerable, or, you know, somehow they're wrong. But if you have to apologize, there's no shame in that. You know, there's no shame in making mistakes or misunderstanding something. Remember that the heart-centered energy is much more open, allowing, forgiving, accepting. The ego will always be more rigid, unflinching, unbending. And this is one of the ways that you can identify it in your life more easily. If someone else is in that position of being unbending, unflinching, is it really worthwhile trying to communicate with them in that moment? Or maybe you can come back to it when they have softened a little bit. Remember, no one's all ego, all heart all the time. There's a blending here that occurs. But what begins to happen is, as you create more mastery around this, you spend less time in the ego and more time in the heart. So it's a much more open, enjoyable, peaceful, abundant existence. So anyway, I hope that you find that helpful. I wish you much love as always. And what else do I have to say? So I have the Life Purpose and Career monthly readings available by subscription on the Thinkific site. There's a link below. I have so many things to offer you, and there are many free videos that I will continue to do, as I always have. I have the online courses available, How to Read Oracle Cards for Beginners, the Intermediate Advanced course on that, and crystal videos, spirituality courses. So they're all available on the Thinkific site. And as I mentioned, I do have a new course on spiritual self-mastery coming up around the ego and the heart energies. And yeah, so anyway, I wish you much love as always.